How seriously should we take these New York Knicks?
I think they. Don't you think they could get by the first round? Don't you think they could get by the first round?
No, I don't.
Hey, what? Can you come on in April so we can talk NFL draft? That's it. Go to break. Go to break. No.
So there are people oftentimes who can identify in terms of culturally similar backgrounds, things like that. So I just want to start to remove away some of these misconceptions about therapy.
I love the way she says therapy. I love it. It is like, if you a single man and you going on a date listening to Jodeci or Boys to Men?
Oh, definitely Boys to Men. I mean, what are we doing?
Hey.
What are we doing? I mean, do you need me to start singing like which Boys to Men song we're gonna be listening to?
But why do you say Boys to Men over Jodeci?
I mean, you trying to set the mood, right?
What song you setting the mood with Boys to Men? End of the road? That's what you set the mood? It's so hard to say goodbye.
Like you want me to, and I'll hold you tight.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Mike.
Our poor
don't
guy
do
didn't
that.
know the words, so I had to help him out.
Hey. Yeah, don't. Hey, the words ain't the problem, Mike. I haven't seen the tweet. It's an ongoing process. I'm following it very closely, just like everybody else is here, and looking forward to a resolution. I'm excited, thinking about Lamar all the time, thinking about him as our quarterback. We're building our offense around that idea, and I'm just looking forward to getting back to football. I'm confident that's going to happen. First of all, shout out to Kimberly Martin back there in the shot when John Harbaugh was talking, our friend of the show, Kimberly Martin. And shout out to Natalie. What's happening, Natalie? Happy Monday to you. You look like you're somewhere fun, somewhere important, somewhere where you could ask the important questions that journalists need to be asking of the Golden State Warriors. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Right now, let's talk about the drama, as you say, the drama of it all in Baltimore. That was John Harbaugh speaking at the owners' meetings in Arizona. And just as he started to talk, Natalie, just at the time that John Harbaugh was talking, Lamar Jackson said, oh, wait a minute. Y'all said I don't know how to play the game with these billionaires? You say I need an agent to make things happen? Ooh, I'll raise you then. He started tweeting, and he said he requested a trade on March 2nd.
Yeah.
The Ravens responded several days later by putting the non-exclusive franchise tag on him and allowing him to go to the market to see what's out there. As we know, strangely, for a quarterback who's won nearly 74% of his regular season games and has been a unanimous MVP all before the age of 24, well, unanimous MVP before the age of 24, there is no market. So now he says he wants to be traded, or he asked for a trade. And the Ravens, John Harbaugh says, no, I love Lamar. I love Lamar. Natalie, what are we missing? What do we miss? Like, what do you think is happening here? Ravens say one thing. Lamar Jackson seems to be saying something completely different. Where do you land on this?
Yeah, I think it's about control. It's what we've been talking about. It's what our friend Mike Jones wrote about recently, who will be coming on later to join us. But I believe it's somewhere in the middle. So I do believe the Ravens want to keep Lamar. They don't want to meet him on his asking price. And I think they are trying to complicate the situation. So, to force his hand. And right now he is not folding. And so we have this situation that we haven't seen before.
Yeah. Okay. But, see, I know we were talking earlier, and before we came on, we had Mike Jones singing, which, I mean, that's not his strength. That's not a strength, Mike. You're one of the best reporters in the world. but you're not one of the best singers in the world. So he was talking about love songs, Boys to Men. Vinny's talking about Jodeci. And in these love songs, people tell stories about what they want and what they missed out on, and they had another chance, and give me another chance. So you could say, Natalie, that the Ravens want him. But here's after the love song. Hey, that all sounds good, what you said, but what are you willing to do? And if you're not willing to do it, then you don't. No, you don't. The Ravens don't want Lamar Jackson. They got to be honest with themselves. They don't want Lamar. No, they don't want him. They don't want him because getting Lamar Jackson, you can't say, "Hey, I want you. I want you if you do this." No. Part of the package for Lamar Jackson, he's already told you what it's going to take. It takes something that you're not willing to give. So if you're not willing to give it, you don't want him. You don't want all things considered. Yeah, you want parts of them, but love doesn't work like that. Real love is you got to take the entire package. Hey, I like you when you're nice to me. I like you when you dress up. I like you when we go on vacation. No, those are just like little pockets. Those are little pockets of real life. It's 365. Are you ready to deal with the 365 of Lamar Jackson, which includes a big contract? And if you're not willing to do that, then you might as well go ahead and say, we don't want Lamar Jackson. I think he's already reached that conclusion. That's why he asked for a trade.
Yeah. I mean, Michael, I would say that actually is how love works for a lot of people's relationships, right? It comes with conditions, though we're told it shouldn't. And so I think they want to keep Lamar with conditions. And he's like, no, forget your conditions. And I'm going to go do me. And so that's where this stalemate comes in, right? And I think by now they expected him to fold, and he will not. He wants to do this on his terms.
Yeah, I'm glad you used that word, stalemate, Natalie. It's not a stalemate anymore. I think it's maybe it's not a stalemate. Lamar versus Baltimore. Lamar versus Baltimore is now over. The way I look at it, it's over.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll play in Baltimore anymore. So now the stalemate is Lamar versus the rest of the league. He's in a really fascinating position, and I mean, there will be documentaries on this 5 and 10 years from now. We'll be talking about this. We're in the middle of it. So clearly we don't have all of the wisdom and insight that we need being in it in real time. But this is a case of a great young talent at the most important position in football. The position is so important that the Carolina Panthers moved up from 9 to 1 to draft themselves a quarterback. The Houston Texans were at 2, and they were thinking about going up to 1 to get a quarterback. There may be 4 quarterbacks taken in the first 14, 13 picks. A couple of years ago, there were 5 quarterbacks taken in the first 15 picks, 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. So this position is so important, yet the rest of the NFL says, no, we're not having conversations with Lamar Jackson.
Right.
The Baltimore Ravens aren't paying him what he feels like he's worth. The rest of the NFL so far, unless they've been creeping by the back door, but nobody publicly has come out and said, yes, Lamar Jackson is on our radar. This is a fascinating time in the history of the league. There's Lamar in the short term. It's what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson. Big picture, I think I know what's happening. It's walking like it. It's talking like it. It's sitting like it. It's putting memos out like it. But we can't just flat out say collusion. But
right.
Damn it, Natalie, it sure does look like collusion to me. Lamar Jackson's not playing for the Baltimore Ravens anymore. Question is, before we move on to another topic that's also fascinating, but not necessarily in a good way. Before we move on to another topic, if he doesn't play in Baltimore, you may disagree with me. You may think he will. If he doesn't play for the Baltimore Ravens, where do you think he might go in 2023? Or will he play at all?
Yeah, before I answer that, I just want to say the only reason I think there may be a chance is because at the end of the day, this seems like the money that he wants, right? He wants to be paid what he thinks his value is, and most of us do. So that's fair. But right now, still, there hasn't been a market yet. No one has. I mean, we know that people want Lamar Jackson, right? How could teams not want him for the most important position? But no one has broke yet. And so at some point, a decision has to be made. And if the Baltimore Ravens are hurting themselves, because without a decision being made, they can't move forward either. And so they're putting themselves in a position to start off the season not in a good way. So at some point, something has to happen. And so at some point, if their hands are forced and they finally offer Lamar what he wants, unless there's another option on the table, I don't think he's going to just be like, no, forget it, So, but if he has another option, I think the question then becomes, will he walk away if the Ravens come and finally say, okay, we'll meet you here, right? But he still has to have another option first before he can walk away.
Good point, Natalie. If he has another option, he's taking it. If there's another option there, he's taking it. You know how it is. I mean, it's just, it really is. It's relationships. I'm going to talk about relationships in a way that's, that might be problematic too, but in relationships, sometimes you just get to a point, the communication breaks down, you feel like your needs aren't being met, you have expectations that the other person either doesn't understand or understands, is unwilling to meet you there at that level of expectation, and it just craters from there. And I think that's where Lamar Jackson is, that the Ravens aren't there because they're still trying to get a deal.
Right.
Lamar Jackson is there because it is business and personal with him. With the Ravens, it's business. With Lamar, it's business and personal. And I understand those things tend to happen. Yes. One, with all professional athletes, or all employees, but specifically those athletes and employees who represent themselves and don't have some type of buffer who can just kind of take some of that pressure off. Hey, you deal with the corporate heads, you deal with the suits. I'm just going to go ahead and be a creative. I'm going to go ahead and be an artist and do my thing. Lamar Jackson is doing both.
To answer your question really quick, Holly, let me just answer the question. So I would like the Jets to put their hand in the Lamar. I don't think they will, but I would like it. I think he'd be great in New York, and I think the city would love him. I know, because they went all in on Rodgers, but hey, I still would like it. But I would also love a Bieniemy reunion. So that and Atlanta. I think any of those three destinations. I know that the Jets are very unlikely, but those are the three teams that I would like to see where he'd end up. Don't know that he will.
You know what would really hurt? There's already like this little shade, historical shade. I don't know if they still feel the same way anymore because they got a couple Super Bowl titles out of it, the Ravens and Baltimore. But historical shade between Baltimore and Indy. Baltimore, Robert Irsay, Jim's father just left town. Just gathered up all this stuff, said he was going to the store to get some milk and bread, and got into a moving van, moved the entire franchise overnight under the cover of darkness, moved the franchise from Maryland to Indiana. The Indianapolis Colts, we're so used to it, we don't even say, that name doesn't make no sense. The Indianapolis Colts? No, the Baltimore Colts. Pimlico's right down the street. It's the Baltimore Colts. They don't know about horses in Indianapolis. They know about cars. It's Hoosier country. It ain't horse country. But they left town. And now, Lamar Jackson, that's a good fit. Indianapolis Colts, they got a good young team, good young roster, infrastructure. Drop him in there. Let him do his thing. Now, let's talk about relationships here. I saw you tweeted, you're tweeting about it, and you have it there in your feed, about Jonathan Majors. And you know how I feel about Jonathan Majors, the actor. I mean, it's been quite a year for him with Creed 3. He has had so many, I think, generous moments with Michael B. Jordan. I love seeing pictures of them together. I love hearing them talk about one another. Even going back, last year I enjoyed Loki on Disney Plus. And the last Loki episode, here's Jonathan Majors kind of teasing his appearance in Ant-Man. And even before that, Jonathan Majors on Lovecraft Country, the show inexplicably that was an award winner, but yet wasn't renewed. That's a different story for a different day. Big Jonathan Majors fan, the actor. This news comes out, and Natalie, I said, I'm so glad Natalie's a lawyer, because I'm just really wrestling with this thing. I don't want to be an apologist just because I'm a fan of the actor. I'm not a lawyer, but I am a journalist. So I understand that there could be an accusation and you have to deal with the accusation, but you also have to consider both sides. But I'm a journalist and I'm also a man, and I know how it works often in this country that and a lot of places where there's an accusation, Natalie, over something real, and then the trend is a recant. Now, I'm not saying that just because the accuser recanted that she's making it up to protect Jonathan Majors, but that is old as the day is long. What happens is sometimes there are false accusations, sometimes there are real issues, and the accusers, those who are the alleged victims say, wait a minute, they start calculating, they feel for the person, and they say, oh, I'm damaging them in their career, potentially. Right. I'm going to take it back. We've seen that before. So there's just a lot of information. I say all that to say, I really don't know what to think. And that's why I'm glad you, the lawyer, can try to help me go in the right direction.
I'll try my best. Listen, this is a very layered conversation and multidimensional. As far as the, in terms of the victim, the person recanting, that is what Jonathan Majors' camp is telling us. That's what they said. We don't know that to actually be true, right? We know that they're saying that they have proof. They're going to come forward with it. So we will have to say they have video proof. They recanted. So we'll see. What we do know that are facts is that he was arrested. We know that someone went to the hospital, that there were actual bruises, like that there was actually something that the person had to go to the hospital to be treated for, right? And then an arrest was made. So we know that occurred. So we'll have to wait to find out more information. Subsequent to the report coming out, there were industry insiders, people who work, in theater acting, who started to say, look, this is who he is. It's been known, or some people know, but it's been sort of, secret. So we don't know. And one of the individuals in particular, because there was a tweet, if we put it back up, but there was a tweet showing kind of the images of the people who were tweeting about it. They actually put out a tweet before this story broke and said there's an actor in Hollywood who Twitter's fallen in love with, and everybody's going crazy over him. And every time I see, here we go. And every time he's talked about, it drives me insane. And then someone says, now we know who that individual was talking about. And he says, ding, ding, ding. Okay. And like these people, I don't know these people personally, but in their profiles, they have like things in their profiles that suggest they're connected to the acting world. Right. So they're putting something on it. They're not just like behind an Avi hiding. Okay. So this is all that's been unfolding over the weekend. So we have to let it play out. We should. But the last thing I'll say about victims or people who are victims of domestic violence, because I feel like we have this conversation always when someone recants, or if someone doesn't come out right away. Because some people are even saying, why did she wait 24 hours? Because it was like the next morning, right? Like it's always, oh, why did they wait so long? Why did they do it
as if that matters? As if that matters, right?
And, the interesting thing is Jonathan Majors was just receiving so much flack for a cover on Ebony magazine that he did. And men were questioning his masculinity, Black men. And they just went out in full force now to defend him and say, how he's being persecuted. And what I want to say about this is, as someone who has been a victim myself of domestic violence, you don't, it's not something that you necessarily want to come forward with. It's not like my family doesn't know that. My best friend only learned recently about some of that situation, closest person to me in the world. So when people say, why don't you come forward? It's because you feel a lot of things. You feel shame. You feel hurt. You wonder how this could happen. You feel like you may get questioned, so there's many reasons why people never come forward. And then when you do come forward, you may not be believed, especially depending on the power dynamics and who you are accusing. So I want people to understand that, like, this idea that people just come out and make these claims and that it's so frequent, it's not frequent. It's infrequent. Many times people do not come forward. They do not come forward. And that's why people say believe victims. I understand that there are times that someone, unfortunately, is accused of something they didn't do, but that's actually not the norm. It's a rarity. It doesn't happen as much. And a lot of people were trying to make this about a Black man being persecuted. We don't know the race of the woman. And there was an assumption that this is a white woman. And so it's like, oh, this is what white women do to Black men. But we don't know. We don't know the race of the individual. But I just wanted to explain from the perspective of why people say believe victims. Everyone says why until they know someone who it happens to. Until they know someone who it happens to, and then it's different. And so that's why people go through this struggle of if they're going to disclose things and if they're not. And we will have to wait and see until more information comes out.
Natalie, I'm so glad you said what you said and you gave us that insight and shared, some of your story with us. And you just gave me an idea. I think, we're brother from another. This is what we do. We don't run away from any of these conversations, and we don't have the answers. We don't have solutions. We're not trying to say we got the solutions to the world's problems, but we'll talk about stories that, other people may run away from or try to just kind of take shortcuts instead of going through the difficult part of it. Let's take a little break here, come back and talk to our brother, Mike Jones. But appreciate you, Natalie. That was well said. It was very powerful.
Thank you.
All right, we talked about it off the top. Lamar Jackson tweeting that he requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens this month, beginning of this month, March 2nd. Also at the beginning of this month, the Ravens said, no, we're not going to trade you. We're going to put the non-exclusive franchise tag on you. And if somebody signs you to a deal that you like and we're not willing to match, then a trade will happen. And today, Mike Jones, John Harbaugh says, hey, I love Lamar Jackson. We're still building our offense around him. I love him. I love everything about him. He's talking about I love his charisma. I love the way he plays. I love the person he is, his confidence, everything. Love his work ethic. So what's going on here, Mike, from your perspective? What's going to happen with Lamar Jackson?
Well, I think, first off, the timing. Lamar has some intel, somebody who's advising him who knew the exact schedule of the coaches, because John Harbaugh was sitting down in his chair when that tweet came out, when he took that grenade and tossed it there. But I think we saw the frustration of Lamar because there has been no progress in the talks, and there has been no progress as far as teams reaching out and trying to see what it would take to acquire him. And so I think that's why Lamar, up until this point, has been very quiet, has not said anything. Then we saw a couple tweets a few weeks ago, saying what they had offered him. And then we see this here. We see that this is a very frustrated young man. But yes, John Harbaugh, he's trying his best to be the good cop here and continue to preserve the relationship, because he knows there's a possibility that nobody steps forward, and he's going to really need this guy to not sit out a year, but to come and play so they have a chance to be competitive. And so that's why he was like, hey, it needs to be said, Lamar is doing a great job in negotiating, and we believe in him and all that, because he knows he's got to preserve this relationship.
Yeah, Mike. Michael and I were talking about this in the first segment, and he thinks this is the end for the Ravens and Lamar. But I think there's still a chance to potentially salvage this working relationship. Where do you fall on that?
I'm torn. It does not look good right now. They're with this frustration bubbling over, but John Harbaugh continued to say, hey, look, this is a monetary issue. It can work itself out. You know, if they do wind up saying, hey, Lamar, okay, we'll give you this. Here's the concessions and the compromises that we need to each make, then maybe so. But the only reason that gives me a feeling of, you know, he's going to be back there is the fact that we still have not heard anything. These teams have known ever since they put the franchise tag, the non-exclusive franchise tag, all these teams have known that they could negotiate and facilitate a trade. Just him putting this out there today is not new information. So the fact that nobody has tried to go and talk to the Ravens, talk to Lamar, and figure this thing out leads me to believe that, you know what, he might wind up having to play here. It might not be elsewhere. It might be that these two sides come together and he winds up playing on the franchise tag and they revisit this next year, or he goes and hits free agency next year.
I'm trying to think, Mike and Natalie, trying to think of the first NFL game I covered, even, you know, going back to my internship. So I'm going to say the first one was like 1989 or 1990, a long time ago, like over 30 years ago. And I say that because all these years, I think I've underestimated the machine, the shield, and how resolute that shield can be when all of the people who represent it want the same thing. When the owners want the same thing, ooh, they could be a united front. I'm just shocked, and I shouldn't be, Mike. I'm just shocked that all these quarterback needy teams, they still are there, are looking at a sure thing like Lamar Jackson. Yes, it's expensive. I know. Stop with the excuses. I know it's expensive. I know it's going to cost you at least, for some teams, one really good draft pick and another draft pick that, if you got Lamar Jackson, it might be in the 20s or 30s. But I'm just shocked that nobody has reached out and said, okay, we're going to do it. Why not?
Because like you said, all of these owners, they want the same thing, and that's to control, to rein back in these contracts, because they know if Lamar gets a mega deal, then Joe Burrow is going to top that, and Justin Herbert's going to try to top that, and Jalen Hurts is going to try to top that. So that's why they're like, hey, we need the Deshaun Watson deal to be an outlier and to hold on to these things and this control, because it's bad for business. And that's why there's nobody that is, you know, that has been desperate enough to be like, hey, here's $200 million guaranteed. Oh, and that's why we're still stuck right here.
But let me just follow this up. Natalie, I'm just going to say this, Natalie, now I'm going to pass it to you. I read Peter King today. I read Football Morning in America today, and he's talking about Roger Goodell, and at the age of 64, how he's about to get another 4-year contract extension, and how when Goodell took over, the average franchise value was around $850 million. And now we're talking about the Commanders trying to get $7 billion, and the Broncos going for $4.5 billion. It's a billion-dollar club. So if you're not going to give the money to Lamar Jackson, and this is what fans should be protesting about, if the money doesn't go to Lamar Jackson, where the hell is that money going? Where do you think it's going? Right? So, yeah, give Lamar Jackson and everybody else a guaranteed contract. Why not? Otherwise, you're not getting the satisfaction from as a fan. It's going right back into the owner's pockets, Natalie.
Agreed. But this is the part where I am perplexed, then it's by the Ravens, right? Fine. Those other teams, they're going to help to collude, right? That's what we all think it is. So, but the Ravens are hurting themselves by not resolving this. How far are they willing to go to hurt their own organization and team?
Yeah, I agree with you, because what would this team have been the last 4.5 years without Lamar Jackson? You think John Harbaugh would still be the head coach? I mean, like, this team was really headed south with Joe Flacco before Lamar took over midway through his rookie season and made them relevant the last 4.5 years. They owe it to this young man. Yes, I know he's had some injuries. He's missed some practices. But, hey, you need to do a better job of supporting him with the proper equipped offensive line, better wide receivers, and then go from there. But you're selling out at your stadium because of that young man.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Natalie. You got it.
I was just going to say, Michael asked me this question, and I'm curious. Where do you think it's possible Lamar might go? Like, if there's a team that's going to just finally say, hey, let's talk to him, where might it be, and where could he potentially end up if not back with the Ravens?
Well, we had a whole lot of denials, as soon as they put the franchise tag on them. Teams that could, supposedly the Colts have not ruled him out. Would we be surprised to see maybe the Patriots, who definitely need an infusion? That would be, we've seen Bill Belichick go out and get guys like Randy Moss and some big time players that had worn out their welcome elsewhere. The Minnesota Vikings are another team that we've heard have had some conversations internally. I do know that the Washington Commanders, who would desperately need him, they are not a team that has interest. And I think the Ravens, they would make sure, oh, no, we're not just going to let him go on the other side of the Beltway. We'll work something out before seeing that there. But, it's a big question. But those are a few of the names that possibly, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but possibly could have some consideration.
Okay.
Hey, going in a different direction, Mike, am I crazy? Tell me I'm crazy. You can go ahead and say it, because I think you were crazy to sing Boys to Men on the air. So you can tell me I'm crazy on this one. I'm kind of feeling Todd Bowles, what he was saying about, life after Tom Brady. We got some good players still. We can win some games, and it's not as bad as you all think it is. You just were all focused on Brady because of his greatness and his goatness and what a nice guy he is. But we got something here. I'm kind of feeling him. What do you think?
Well, I think that's what you have to, that's got to be his message to those guys in the locker room. He's got to make them believe. He's got to get them lining up and marching to the same beat as they move on from this new era. Because yes, it is true. Tom Brady was great, but Tom Brady was not the reason why they weren't losing. They needed better play, better production out of those players, and they really need unity and belief as they, now rally around Baker Mayfield, who's, out for redemption, and all these guys have something to prove. So I think it's a really smart tactical move by Todd Bowles to use that as his message both for the public and for his team.
Yeah, we see your background there. We know you're doing business there in Arizona, and you got people to see and you got places to go. So we're gonna let you go. But before you go, I'm gonna tell you, I want to make a bet with you. I'll bet. No, you can't bet. You can't bet, right? You cover the league. You can't do this. All right. So you got integrity and morals and all that stuff that I used to have. Years ago. But I think, how about this? I think Baker Mayfield is going to have a better year statistically than Deshaun Watson. Ducks.
Hey, we'll see. He definitely has some talent he's working with. We'll see. I don't know.
High pitched.
Come on,
We'll
let's
see.
do it. Put a little something on it. It's legal where you are.
I can't quite do it. I can't quite do it.
Come on, Mike. Good to see you, Mike.
We'll see you. Thank you, guys.
Did anyone ever suggest surgery? Yeah, 2 doctors.
Why did you decide against it?
Because I went to the LeBron James of feet, and he told me I shouldn't.
Oh my God.
The LeBron James of feet. Like, let somebody else say that. Okay.
Michael. I mean, why would he go to the second best podiatrist? It's really
That's right, Kurt. There's so many jokes with that. I'm sure Natalie probably wrote like 10 of them, like and off the top of her head. The LeBron James of feet. Anyway. That guy got him on the floor, but they still lost to the Bulls, a devastating loss in their quest to get out of to get to the top 6 in the Western Conference. What did you think of the LeBron James that you saw last night, Kurt? And I'll I'll break a Sawatsky rule, interviewing rule, and ask you another question on top of that. Where do you think the Lakers will land at the end of the year?
First off, I thought he looked okay. I mean, he did look a little like he missed 13 games. He looked a little rusty, his wind wasn't quite there at points. All in all, his shot was pretty good. What I took away from it, though, was just a reminder, Anthony Davis had a bad game, an off game for him. They will live and die with Anthony Davis. They are ride and die with him. Like, with all LeBron can do, with all the upgrades they've made to the roster, if Anthony Davis isn't playing elite basketball, this team can't beat a good team. And right now, shockingly, the Bulls are a pretty good team. So I took that away from it. I still think they land in the play-in. I probably climb up to 7-8. It's so jumbled, but I got a feeling they'll string together enough wins with him back that they'll get in there. But I don't see them catching the top 6, only because there's not that many games left. They don't really have a tiebreaker. They're going to have to get in front of these teams, and that's the problem. Like, if the Warriors go through 4-3 the rest of the way, then the Lakers have to go 6-2 out of their 8 or whatever it is. Like, they've got to win so many games that they just haven't strung together before that I just don't buy that they're suddenly going to leapfrog everybody.
Yeah, I agree. And also because, like, I think like the Clippers, they lost Paul George, so they could drop a few games. The Suns desperately want KD, and he's coming back Wednesday, I believe. Yes. But I think they've only won 1 without him, I think, since he's gone down, or they haven't won many. They just won the last game.
I think it's 2-5, something like that. Yeah, it's bad. I think it's 2, but I'm not sure.
It's not good. And they're going to be on the road in Utah tonight. So, like, I wouldn't necessarily call that like a game for them. So I think 4 through 6, including the Warriors, I think they're going to end up, it's Suns, Clippers, and Warriors. I think we won't know until the end of the season where those teams are going to lie 4 through 6, but I think they'll stay there. I think the Lakers will be a play-in team. I agree with Kurt.
Yeah.
And I would actually say, though, that the Lakers could maybe get the 7th seed. They play the Timberwolves, but I think it's going to be the Timberwolves and Lakers at 7 and 8. I'm just not sure which one it's going to be.
Timberwolves are playing a lot better last night. They look a lot better. Guys, sorry about this.
I love it. We love that, man. We love it. We love slices. We love slices. We love slices of real life. Real life.
One of my kids just walked through the background here in a second just to add to it. The Timberwolves are playing. They looked better. They got Anthony Davis back. Having Karl-Anthony Towns, he hit 2 key threes last night. Jaden McDaniels is playing great defense for them. They're clicking a little bit. Not great, but clicking well enough that I think I'm with you. I agree with Natalie. I think they hold on to one of the 7 or 8s, and maybe the Lakers get up into that mix. Yeah, I mean, the other thing, you got to play for that, right? Because the 7 and 8 is so much easier. I'm happy to agree with you. As long as it's not about the Warriors, I'm happy to agree.
That's coming next.
7 and 8.
That's coming next.
7 and 8 matters, though, right? Like 7 and 8, if you're going to be in the play-in, winning 1 out of 2 is very different than having to win 2 in a row. Where just look at our brackets. You couldn't have one and done situation. And I mean, I know Michael had FAU and San Diego State in the Final Four, but like most of us didn't.
I had it all the way. Not a surprise. Not at all. I got to say, the Warriors, because Natalie, I'll let you in a second kind of kind of throw to your own sound, to your own question. But if that's what you want to do. But I look at the Warriors, and I still look at them. I still see, maybe because what I saw in person last June here in Boston, it really scarred me. They really scarred me, Kurt and Natalie. I underestimated them, and they played like champions. They played like the champions that they are. So I look at them still as a championship team. I can't remember the last time I saw a championship team with the home road split that the Warriors have, one. And then two, I can't remember the last time I saw a championship team when now it's winning time. It's winning time. Late March, early April. Okay, forget about what we did. We were messing around. We were just messing around with y'all in November, December. Now it's time to win. I've seen them give away so many games in the last few weeks. What the hell is going on? Are they really trying to take the degree of difficulty, Kurt, up to a level that we've never seen before? What's going on with the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about Natalie's question now, so I do want to see that. But I've told you before, and you guys got on me, I'm just kind of off the bandwagon. I'm just kind of off the bandwagon because they're not defending at the level they were. And this loss to Minnesota was, Steph Curry does a great job, drives the paint, kicks out to Draymond. Draymond's not a threat, kind of standing out there, not sure what he's going to do. By the time he decides, Slow-Mo is picking him. Slow-Mo, not the fastest guy in the league. Slow-Mo is picking him and taking it the other way. They keep having moments like that make me think it's just not clicking for them this year the way it has in the past.
Yeah, so I understand all the reasons why people doubt the Warriors. I'm not off the bandwagon. Shocking. I don't think that's a news flash to anyone. But
I'm glad you said it, though. I'm glad you said it out loud.
They were really upset about the game last night. So I don't need to throw it to the sound because I can just tell you, I mean, I talked to GP2 and it was exciting for his return. So, but I did specifically ask Steph about if he has concerns about them closing late in games, their late game execution and what you'd expect a champion to say. He said no, and he brought up examples of past games where they close, like recent examples and what they've done. And so I think in this situation, what actually was more interesting, and it wasn't a question that I asked, was someone specifically asked Clay about Jordan Poole, because last night what you saw was Draymond make a mistake that didn't make sense. And I'm still going to trust Draymond Green in a game that matters. So I'm going to trust him. But Jordan Poole is really the one who struggled a lot in closing games. Kerr hasn't had him on the court at times. And he was asked about that. And Klay Thompson sort of seemed agitated by the question. And what he did, he turned around and he pointed at the championship behind them. And he said, that's why I'm not worried, because he's done it already. And so their confidence is sky high. And I'm going to say what I said last year, and people are going to say I'm a homer and I'm biased and blah, blah, blah. The same way that everyone, well, not everyone, I know Kurt probably wasn't one of these people, but the way that a lot of people thought Steph Curry was in decline last year because he had a shooting slump like we've never seen. And I said, that's not real. I'm telling you guys, the road record isn't real. It's not real. Even though there's a lot of reasons, and if I try to explain them, people are going to say I'm just making excuses, but I don't think it's real. And I think if people harp on that too much, they're going to be shocked, disappointed, I don't know, come the postseason. And Michael, I think this is the last thing I'll say. I think you were right to still believe in the Warriors because one game here and there, yes, the Wolves can beat them. Any team can beat them. But you still need one of those teams in the West to beat them 4 times in a series. And there's not that many teams in the West, I'm confident, that can do that. And that's just so maybe they can get through to the finals and they don't win the finals, but I think they can still make it out the West for sure.
I love it. I love it. And Kurt, she said, I am not giving up on the Warriors. I love it. And you know what? You said the teams in the West. Kurt, this is the last one I have for you. Natalie usually doesn't do the subtweeting, but she did a little subtweet there. Joel Embiid did a subtweet earlier. He was like, hey, pressure. Why is there pressure on me? I'm not a 2-time MVP, all NBA, who's never won anything. Oh, okay, just go ahead and say Jokic. Even though he's not playing against him tonight, you gonna talk that trash? Go ahead, play the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you think there is pressure though, despite what Embiid says? Is there pressure on him? And is his statement correct about Jokic perhaps having more pressure than he does?
I would agree that there's more pressure on Jokic only because he does have the 2 MVPs. And for 2 years, what have we said about the Nuggets, man? Just wait. When they get healthy, when they get everybody right, we're going to, they have the talent to do this. And then they went on this recent losing streak and everybody went, you look at their defense and you kind of pull back a little. I think that there's real pressure on them because I don't know. There's real pressure on them for this reason. And I think it applies to the Clippers. I think it applies to a few teams that have been kind of in waiting. You're not going to have a better year than this year in the West, man. If you can't get through this West, because Memphis isn't going to get worse. Memphis is only going to get better. Like, there's going to be teams that figure it out. This is a down year. This is your one chance to kind of roll through relatively a soft team. So I think, though, there is pressure on Embiid because Jokic has actually gone farther in the playoffs than Embiid. Jokic
that bubble year.
Conference finals.
Come on, Kurt. That was in the bubble, with all due respect. Like,
hold on. This bubble.
There was a legitimate debate about whether Jamal Curry was even the best player in that postseason in the series. Like, that wasn't about Jokic being the player he is right now. So we need to see them in a regular season under regular circumstances.
Come on, Natalie.
No,
Natalie,
come on.
Hey, and Kurt, this is true. If the Warriors had won in the bubble, Clay would be on the bench doing this to Dylan Brooks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That nobody's taking away a championship because it happened in the bubble or conference finals. What? They didn't win a championship.
No, but not that. The difference is the Warriors would have had championships outside of the bubble. The other difference is that a lot of the performances in the bubble since that time have looked like outliers. We haven't seen those players or those teams repeat the performance. And that's the difference. They do it, then, hey, we don't question the bubble anymore.
You can't be telling me that LeBron James can't do it again. Like, LeBron James is
LeBron James? Guys. Of course, LeBron can, but we're not talking about LeBron. But that
how about Jimmy? They beat Jimmy Butler. They beat Jimmy Butler in Miami. Miami lost in Game 7 last year in the conference final. Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy Butler. We've seen him just like we saw him in the bubble. Come on.
The Heat have won before the bubble, not that iteration, but I'm just saying, like, Denver hasn't done anything. We will see. And then if they do it, then fine. I don't think they're making it past the second round. They're not getting to the finals.
What I was saying earlier was, as much as I think there's pressure on Embiid, I think you're getting to it. There's pressure on the Sixers. This is it. You got Harden. You got everything lined up. Yeah. The Nuggets too, but on the Sixers. On Philadelphia. Like, what are you going to do? I mean, you've got Embiid, now you've got Harden, you've got it all together, you've got Doc Rivers. If they come apart in the second round against Boston, what are we saying about it?
I agree. Right. I agree with Joel Embiid, though, too. Like, I think the Sixers should have pressure because that year when it all fell on Ben Simmons, I still think the Sixers should have made the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah. And I think what happened with Simmons allowed people to overlook that Embiid fell short. So I think that he should have the pressure to at least get to a conference finals. But I agree with him about these other players. This is the thing. When you start giving people MVPs and accolades, you need to then show us. And I agree with him on that as well. That's where I go.
All right, listen. All right, so, hey, Kurt, I just want you to get this straight. The bubble, not real. That's an outlier. And well, we haven't seen so many players.
I count the Lakers championship. I count it.
I'll tell you what you did say. You did say 7-26 on the road is not real. We will find out. 7-26 on the road.
The Warriors have won a road game in every playoff series they have ever played in this version of them. So,
and it's even worse. 7-26 is the worst record than that.
Yeah,
It's worse than that.
It's embarrassing, but hey, it is what it is. We move. Once the postseason starts, it's a new season.
I love that. Hey, Kurt, appreciate you, brother.
Take care.
Bye, Kurt.
Bye, Natalie.
Natalie, we don't talk about this player enough. Her name is Caitlyn Clark, and she is the goods. Caitlyn Clark puts on a show every time she steps on the court. Look at that. The only women's or men's player in history with a 40-point triple-double in an NCAA tournament game. And not just a NCAA tournament game in round one or round two. This is when it matters the most. That's why I love watching her play, Natalie, because she comes up big in big games and against opponents who are supposedly better than her team is. Did the same thing in the Big Ten tournament as well. So, Caitlyn Clark, shout out. What say you?
Yeah, shout out to Caitlyn, and I want to shout out Angel Reese too. I just like what all these players are bringing. She said what y'all gonna say now, because there's so much to say about her. People, they critique her like for how she is, but if a man did it, it would be the same. You wouldn't get all that criticism. So I love this confidence. I love what Caitlyn did as well. But I would say this, I disagree a little bit. We don't talk about the women's game enough and properly cover it. So I agree with Dawn Staley on that. But I will say it's Aaliyah Boston who is not getting enough coverage. And so she is a beast. She is dominant. And I'm all in on Aaliyah Boston still.
Not enough coverage. She's going to be the number one pick in the draft.
Not enough.
The team hasn't lost a game in like 2 years. They're getting a lot of coverage. Thank you, Natalie. Thank y'all. See you.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.